Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Wednesday. It is Self-Care Wednesday. It's hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day. Um, it is Self-Care Wednesday, but you know what? Instead of doing self-care cards, it's a full moon. So I'm going to get into the full moon card and the super moon card. Yesterday, I did, I forgot to put it in the comments, so I'll do that after this show. I did Pisces, full moon in Pisces, and the blue moon, because today's also a blue moon. So it's a full moon in Pisces, super moon, super blue moon. By the time this full moon cycle's over, I'll finally figure out how to say it. So anyways, let's just dive right in. And then also, it is day 20 of body mindfulness. Now, because I missed last week, I decided that this week I would just do the 4 days. Otherwise, normally when we do body mindfulness, it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. But I'm combining today. And actually, today works out really well because today's body mindfulness topic is about compassion. So it's about overall compassion, but I think what the card is talking about we could also apply to ourselves. So let's do this. Full moon today. Full moon in super blue full moon. A full super blue moon in Pisces. There we go. The very word climax brings all sorts of ideas and images to mind. Agreed? But it really is the feeling of this card. Life is coming to a head, a point, a conclusion, or a turning point. There may be some kind of change and possibly even some sort of emotional explosion. Tune into your emotions now and see what they're telling you. They're very likely close to the surface, no matter when in the moon cycle you've pulled this card. Matters will soon conclude and you'll find out whether or not your wishes are going to come true. The odds are in your favor. How Hunger Games of them, right? Although lately this world feels like the Hunger Games. So the odds are ever in your favor as this is a positive card, but you may need to work harder than usual to keep cool as events unfold. So, the full moon can be crazy. It can draw people's stuff out because the full moon is about drawing up and out all the negative stuff, right? It's about pulling it out, letting it go. The new moon cycle is about manifestation. So the full moon is saying, okay, you planted a seed. Have you done the work to make sure it grows? And if you haven't, then, you're going to have to wait till the next new moon. No, not really. You could start it now. Okay, these are just cycles that people go through because it's a time period that it's giving you to do these things. But there really is no wrong time to try to pray for something, manifest something, or set an intention for something. But remember, this or something better. If you want it to work out, this or something better. So you give your higher power, your spirit guide, whatever it is, whoever it is, I should say, sorry, the wiggle room that they need to make these things happen. But also, if it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, don't give up, because that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means that maybe you have to pivot. Maybe it's not meant for you. And maybe something different will come in its place. So be aware of those things too. All right. So attune to the moon. This is your affirmation. I am getting the answers I need. I am getting the answers I need. Sorry. I got a cat that needs to be heard. So anyways, additional meanings for this card. A wish you made may be about to come true. Believe, trust. Okay, if it's meant for you, it will happen. It's make or break time. There could be a sense of madness in the air. Breathe deep and stay calm. If you're going to go on the road today or tomorrow or even yesterday, keep calm. Keep calm. Do your best to keep calm. The next one, you may need to forgive someone to release negative energy. Now, people always say, well, I can't forgive them for what they've done. You don't have to forgive them for what they've done, but forgive the situation because that's going to free you. Okay, that doesn't mean that their karma is not going to come and whack them upside the head if they've done something horrible. It just means that you are freeing yourself and you are removing yourself from them. You're setting that boundary. You're taking your power back and saying, see ya. So, sometimes we have to forgive someone or a situation so that we can move on. And that doesn't mean you have to do it to your face. You can say, you know what, I forgive this situation. I've had to do that just for my own personal mental health and moving on in my own way. So the last one, in additional meanings, it's time to let go of the past and move on. Sometimes we have to let go of the past and move on. I know it's hard. And I think sometimes we get so attached to the past that it's kind of like, remember, it's that whole metaphor again with the cozy blanket. You have a cozy blanket and you have an itchy scratchy blanket, but you've had the itchy scratchy blanket for forever and 20 lifetimes. So the comfy blanket looks so inviting, but you're like, I don't know. I don't know. Will it keep me warm enough? Is it good enough? I mean, yeah, it might be cozy, but will I be comfortable under it? So I'm rolling my eyes because that's what I do. I always reach for the itchy scratchy blanket instead of, the cozy comfy blanket. So choose the cozy comfy blanket. All right. I know the unknown can be scary, but that's what life is about. Life is about an adventure. Life is about being a part of this world. It's about pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones. It's about, trying to move ourselves along in this world. So, and I'm talking to myself when I say that, okay? When I point those fingers, 3 more are pointing back at me. So I do hear myself when I'm saying that. So the teaching. The full moon marks the climax of the lunar cycle, making this card something of a power card. The full moon is often the time when answers are given to questions asked during the new moon. And pulling this card at any time in the lunar cycle suggests answers will be coming your way before too long. Meditate. Right? Meditate on it. If you want an answer, try to do your best to just do those deep breathing exercises, clear your mind, and, allow the answers to come to you. Sometimes the answers are sitting right there, but the chatter in our head is just going and going and going and going and going that we can't see it. We can't hear it. We can't feel it. Because, we're not allowing the quiet to come into our minds. We're not allowing the quiet to sit there and go, okay, I got you. I see you. Here's your answer. We're too busy making noise so that we don't have to hear the answer because we might be afraid of the answer. So there's that too. All right. So the supermoon, supermoon. The supermoon is basically, the moon is just closer to the earth. I thought here it says, it's in the teaching, but I'm going to read it to you anyways. The moon, if it's a full moon and it's a supermoon, the moon appears around 14% bigger at this time. So, and it's a lot closer to the ground. Now, a lot closer to the ground. So sorry. It's not like we're just pulling the moon out of the sky. Don't show this to Neil deGrasse Tyson. He'll rake me over the coals for that one. But no, seriously, the moon just appears bigger. Now, I'm not there. We have several supermoons throughout the year, but my understanding was that these supermoons were very similar to the harvest moons, because, the moon's light, or the moon is just, the earth is just, rotating a little closer to the moon, and it comes around the right time because, it's going to start getting darker earlier pretty soon, and, people needed that light to continue doing their work outside. But I mean, obviously with the advent of technology and everything we have, that's not something that we really need to worry about a lot. But, I feel like I'm talking out of my ass here. So let me just read the card. Supermoon, emotions are running high. Now, what did this card say? Remember, so I forgot to say it. Surrender to the divine is what the full moon said. Surrender to the divine. But it also talked about in the full moon how to just kind of stay calm, take a deep breath and stay calm because emotions might be running high. This is the card telling you, yes, emotions might be running high. Now, for anybody that missed it yesterday, the cards I read for the full moon in Pisces and the blue moon was telling you, believe in the impossible. And the Pisces card was balance your spirituality and practicality. So, if you're waiting for something to happen, you may have to just either hunker down and really trust and believe that it's going to happen, or maybe you need to pivot a little and figure out, am I going in the right direction for what I want to achieve, or do I need to take a step back and look at the path again and see if there's a different way I need to do this or a different path I need to move down to get to, point B. So the supermoon is just reminding you that emotions are running high. With the blue moon being with these two, the full moon in Pisces and the supermoon, it is really an amplified energy. The blue moon is kind of that sign that says believe it will happen, because blue moons they're not everyday things. They're very rare. You know, maybe not as rare as we, make it sound, but they're rare. They don't happen that often. So, that being said, I think it's really a good time during this blue moon. Kind of use it like a new moon. A new moon is kind of the wish card moon, right? It's where you set the manifestations, where you set the prayers, you set the intentions. And, again, this or something better. You're planting that seed. Well, the blue moon is kind of like miracle grow for that seed. Believe in it. Trust that it's going to happen. Manifest this beautiful life for yourself, but you have to trust. Okay. And the reason I'm really focusing on that is because I am terrible at trusting. Older sibling and I are so different. She's very jump in feet first and see what happens. I'm very like, you need to step back until I am sure of you. And somewhere in the middle is probably the way we should be doing it. So emotions are running high during the supermoon. This card suggests that the answer to whatever you're asking is writ large like the silvery full moon set against the velvety night sky. I love that. If you're wondering how successful something is going to be, such as a job or a relationship, the answer is very, very. To use common parlance, the answer to your question may well be that it's under your nose. All right. This card is about... Why am I having a hard time reading this? I've kind of found this. When I have a hard time reading something, I know it's because I'm hearing the message and I'm battling it. I am, pushing it back, like pushback, like, no, don't, no. I know you're right, but no. So it's that scratchy blanket, right? That's the scratchy blanket, reflex. Whereas this is the cozy blanket, and I'm just kind of giving the scratchy blanket response. Let me try this again from the beginning. The card suggests that the answer to whatever you're asking is writ large like the silvery full moon set against the velvety night sky. If you're wondering how successful something is going to be, such as a job or a relationship, the answer is very. So, you know what? Go for it, because it is going to be successful. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen. Just take it day by day. Take it day by day. Just go out there and, pick the cozy blanket. All right. To use common parlance, the answer to your question may well be that it's under your nose. This card is about being larger than life, being special and bursting with energy that you can tune into and work with. You can expect plenty of good things and a positive outcome when this card comes up, but you may find there's a lot of emotions to deal with too. There's also a sense that the opportunities around whatever you're asking about don't come along every day, so take action. Attuned to the moon. Success is close. I just must trust. So that's your attuned to the moon. Success is close. I just must trust. It's funny. Older sibling and I were talking about my trust issues this morning. I just must trust. Additional meanings for this card. A resolution to your question is closer than you may think. Don't ignore the obvious. Make sure you don't blow events out of proportion, and speak to the goddess or your higher power and ask them or her for their assistance. Now the teaching. Now, this is the funny thing. The teaching isn't really the common teaching that we get like we had in the other one, like this is the time to do this, that, or the other. It's more just kind of highlighting what behind the supermoon. So a supermoon is a new or full moon that takes place when the moon is at its closest point to the earth during its monthly orbit, an event known as perigee. If it's a full moon, the moon appears around 14% bigger at this time. The moon is known as the queen of emotions, and if you draw the supermoon card, regardless of when you do this, you can expect your feelings to be more highly charged. So just, be careful. Take a deep breath before you say anything, and just count to 10. Count to 10. So, I forgot. I got to put those in the comments. But, I would just count to 10 because that might be safer for you. All right. So you got this. I believe in you and you're going to be just fine. All right. So, day number 20 of body mindfulness. Compassion. Compassion is today's word of the day, today's subject of the day. Now more than ever, we need to expand our ability to be compassionate towards self and others. There has been a trend in shaming and rejecting people who disagree with us and justifyingly doing so by using sweeping generalizations. Compassion calls us to remember that every human is a product of their environment and is incredibly nuanced. If we want to be truly compassionate, we dive deeper. We do not build a wall. No matter how correct we believe we are, we must do our best to understand others and their experiences. Okay, this makes no sense, so I must have written this down wrong. We must do our best to understand others and how their experiences have created their truth. And if we want to create a world of connection, we cannot afford to outcast those who do not agree. We have to work hard within ourselves to bridge the gaps. Keep in mind, in some situations, compassion can take the form of a wall or a fist, but most of us humans are not perfect and we live in the gray area. Good, but wounded. And in that, we need more intentional compassion and connection rather than punishment. How can you be more compassionate in your current life? Where have you built walls that do not serve you? A lot of us, a lot of people who struggle with their body mindfulness and just their overall sense of self, a lot of those people have struggled with trauma of some sort, one way or another. We're not going to go specific and name any particular kind of trauma. Trauma can do negative things to your mindset, to your brain. It can make you it can twist the way you see things. It can twist or it can amplify the limited patterns that you may have grown up with, or the limited beliefs, the inherited patterns and the limited beliefs that you may have grown up with. And that doesn't mean it came from a family member or even a parent. It could have come from your outside experiences. It could have come from a trauma that you've experienced. And as adults, it's the same thing. It could come from an experience that you've had. And so we need to show ourselves compassion. And one of the reasons I chose this card out of the deck, this is the Threads of Fate Shadow Edition deck, is because a lot of times when we lack compassion in ourselves, we start lacking compassion and empathy for everything else around us. We start, picking fights with people because they don't agree with us. One of my favorite phrases, agree to disagree. I think we need to agree to disagree. Because, we can sit there all day and try to push our agenda, and sometimes we're right. And somebody else might be wrong. We may have all the facts, or they may have all the facts and we may be wrong. But everybody wants to be right, right? So we just do this, we 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 do this. We knock heads. And where does that get anyone? Nowhere. Because eventually when one side is not listening to the other and the other side doesn't feel heard, it gets louder, and then it escalates into something it doesn't need to escalate into. So, remember that phrase. I think we need to agree to disagree. And that's not a bad thing. That's not giving up, right? That's just saying, look, I believe one thing, you believe another. We are at an impasse and we're not going to get anywhere. We're just going to end up fighting and it's not worth it. And if they sit there and just say, well, you're not listening. It's like, no, I am listening. But, I'm not feeling heard. You're not feeling heard. And I think we just need to, don't point fingers. Because like I said, when you point fingers, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. So unless you're going to do this, which I hate. I hate when that could be even like this, right? That drives me nuts. Because that's like a person that just acts like, they're perfect. And none of us are perfect. We are all perfectly imperfect. But yeah, I love the compassion for Self-Care Wednesday. And so, I actually, believe it or not, I did not choose this for this day. Monday's subject was supposed to be the Thursday before I decided I needed to just take a week off and get my head straight. And so, it just worked out that compassion landed on Wednesday today. But again, I'm going to read this one more time and I'm going to read a little bit slower because I really want people to soak in the message of this. Now more than ever, we need to expand our ability to be compassionate towards self and others. There has been a trend in shaming and rejecting people who disagree with us and justifyingly doing so by using sweeping generalizations. Compassion calls us to remember that every human is a product of their environment and is incredibly nuanced. If we want to be truly compassionate, we dive deeper. We do not build a wall. No matter how correct we believe we are, we must do our best to understand others and how their experiences have created their truth. And if we want to create a world of connection, we cannot afford to outcast those who do not agree. We have to work hard within ourselves to bridge the gaps. Keep in mind, in some situations, compassion can take the form of a wall or a fist, but most of us humans are not perfect and we live in the gray area, good but wounded. And in that, we need more intentional compassion and connection rather than punishment. How can you be more compassionate in your current life? Where have you built walls that do not serve you? Now, I know some people are going to see this and they're going to go like, oh, politics, right? Politics. There's a tiny group of people who are just, they are unto themselves. And it's hard to show compassion for those kind of people. I get it. I'm not even sure I can, because so much destruction has been caused from that. And so, and not an entire party, just a certain part of a party. Yeah, I know that's not very transparent, or that's pretty transparent, isn't it? Not doing a good job decoying that one. But my point is, even if, somebody gets in your face, walk away. Walk away. I know how hard it is. I am a person that when you get in my face, you better be prepared to throw down verbally with me. Because we're going to go at it. We're going to go at it. And I've realized over time that doesn't do me much good. There are times when it's like, we just snap and we're just over it. But most of the time I have learned now to just walk away. Yeah, they're going to say stuff. They're going to say stuff at the back of your head. They're going to say shit that's probably going to hurt your feelings. They're going to say stuff that is completely untrue. People around it might hear and go, oh, yeah, all these swear words are going to go flying. All these, vile words are going to go flying. And, you just have to deal with it and walk away, because what good is it going to do? This person is probably a hurt person who is diving deep into, something that gives them, permission to be angry. And that's really what it is. It's somebody who has given other people the permission to be angry. And for what? Ideals? Sometimes we have to be compassionate towards those people, and just hope for the best for them. If you pray for them, but you don't have to sit there and argue with them, because when it comes to certain groups of people, and I mean any kind of groups of people, when they think they're right, when a certain group of people thinks they're right, nobody's going to change their mind. They're going to have to change it on their own. Something big and drastic is going to have to happen for them to see the light. But it's not always going to be you that delivers that light. Oh, we would love to be the ones that deliver the light. There's so many situations I've been in where I would have loved to have been the person that delivered that light. Like, you see this big old spotlight? Do you get it now? But most of the time that's not going to happen. Somebody else or something else is going to be what delivers them that light. And sometimes it won't. Some people will just go off into the netherworlds and believing what they believe. So it's not up to us to we can speak our minds, we can say what we have to say, but like I said, when it starts escalating into something that is just ridiculous, that's when you need to really kind of show compassion for the situation and just move forward and just walk away. Tear down that wall that says I need to be right, and build up a fence, for yourself that says, nope, I got boundaries now. I have boundaries. Because you don't need to be, verbally abused by someone who thinks they're right and who resorts to name calling or this, that, or the other. I mean, I remember one time, Sibling and I were at Comic-Con, and the whole situation that I wasn't even involved in just, escalated. But I kind of felt involved because it had to do with the person just up in front of me to the right and the people behind me. And so it was kind of like crossfire, and it just happened to be me sitting right there. But, you know, when you go to conventions like this and you're kind of stationary all day in one place, you make friends around you. You know, you talk to people, you hear them talking, and you're like, oh my God, I don't mean to interrupt, but that is so cool. You know, and it came down to the point where I felt like my mama bear came out, and I kind of felt like I needed to defend somebody behind me. And so this guy got mad because, you know, he's literally verbally abusing these girls. I mean, they were young enough to be his kids. Not necessarily my kids, but they could have been my baby siblings or cousins. And I felt like I needed to jump in because it was going nowhere. You know, they were trying to explain something to him. He wasn't listening because he wanted his way. And when I jumped in, you know, he and I kind of started going at it. And I'm like, look, this is what they're telling you. This is what the situation is. I tried to offer a solution. Why don't you do this? And, you know, do that. And he called me the C word. And I'm not going to say it. It doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers some people and I don't want to be offensive. So he called me the C word. I'll let you fill in the blanks there. And then older sibling jumped in. So it's like, oh, hell no. And it got to the point where he was getting so loud, security was called. And so security comes, and then the head of Comic-Con comes, which was actually kind of cool. But the head of Comic-Con comes, and then, you know, it was kind of at an impasse. At this point, I figured, you know, because I had, you know, kind of jumped into the fray, that we were all going to get kicked out. But then all of a sudden, older siblings said, you know, they quieted me down because at this point I was in that verbal place now because I was so angry. Not that he called me that, because I told him, I said, it's cute how you think that hurts me. It's like, it's a word. But he was not budging. And instead of just stopping, I mean, we all tried to stop, but he just kept going and going and going and going and complaining and complaining and complaining. And then the minute sibling told them what he said to me, he was removed. We don't want it to get to those places. We don't want it to get to this place where, you know, people have to be called in to break something up. People shoot each other over dumb things. People fight each other over dumb things. You know, people take the lives of other people over dumb things when, you know, they break out in their weapons and stuff. And a lot of times it's because it's coming from in here. There's this anger, there's this fire, there's this hatred, there's this something burning inside of us because we haven't shown compassion to ourselves. Now you might be asking, Shelly Marie, you've been talking about compassion for a good 15 minutes now. What does this have to do with body mindfulness? It has everything to do with body mindfulness. When you hate yourself, that hate for whatever you see, it starts to expand. Because you're building this fire of anger, of pain, of being a hurt person hurting people. But when we show compassion for ourselves, you know, when we go back and look at, like, you know, the soul work, and then taking our power back, showing ourselves some compassion, you know, we can put ourselves in a position where we are a little more subdued. Not subdued in the way that you can't defend yourself. If you need to defend yourself, you defend yourself. You know, I'm not telling you not to do that because I do that. You know, but I'm more of the person that defends my people around me. But I have learned how to defend myself. God, sorry guys, my face is so, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like when I'm getting messages, you know, my face just starts to get itchy. So I know that's a little metaphysical of me, but like little angel wings batting me in the face. but yeah, I think, you know, the level of compassion we show ourselves is reflected in how we treat other people. And I'm not saying that if you don't have compassion for yourself that you're a bad person. But I in a way, I think maybe, now that I'm processing it through my head, maybe it's a two-way thing. You may have zero compassion for yourself, but compassion for everybody else. But that's not serving you either. You need to have compassion for yourself. That will help us become that well-rounded person that we want to be, to remove all this negative crap out of our head, right? It's like that affirmation, I just must trust. I think sometimes we're, you know, made to believe that we're not allowed to be compassionate for ourselves. You know, there was a long time when people thought self-care was selfish. It's not selfish. You have to take care of yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you try to pour from an empty cup, what's going to happen? Nothing. You're not going to get anything. You're going to, it's depleted. The empty cup is your personal energy. It's your personal mental state. And when you're trying to pour from a place, you're going to get bitter. You're going to get angry. And what is that going to do? Eventually, you are going to explode on somebody that doesn't deserve it because it's bottling up. It's like, shaking a bottle of carbonated drink or a beer and then just waiting for it to explode, right? Just waiting for that pop to come off, or that top to pop off. And, cover your eyes because, it could smack you in the face. But we can sometimes be that soda bottle that's been, shaken up, that's ready to just explode when we don't take care of ourselves. And that's where compassion comes in, because sometimes when we lack that compassion in ourselves and we have that fizz, right? That emotional fizz building and building and building and building, whoever comes along and irritates the crap out of you, they're going to get it. Or you're going to hold it in because maybe you don't know that person and maybe you don't want to start a fight with somebody. And then somebody, that is going to come along and go, hey, what? And you're just going to unleash. You're going to pop. So compassion has to start from in here, and we have to send it outwards. This is becoming an extremely angry world. And we need to stop. I mean, that when that card said, the odds are ever in your favor. I mean, it felt so much like Hunger Games, because sometimes this world feels like the Hunger Games. People climbing over each other, people just, stomping each other to get what they need. It's crazy. It's crazy. People looking down on other people because they work hard for everything they have, or thinking things are just handed to them on a plate. Look, if you want these things, work just as hard. Okay? If you want some of these things, just, believe in it. Don't just say, oh, well, don't be angry. You can't be angry when you want something so bad. Oh, I'm hearing myself. I'm waiting for older sibling to pop on here and say something, because I just heard it. If you want something very badly, you can't be angry about it. You can't. Let me tell you from personal experience, because I just heard it. There's a lot of things I've been angry about. There's a lot of things I've been, beating myself up over, things that I feel like I'm responsible for. In some cases I am. And I've made my amends, and I've made my apologies. And I say amends, but I've never been in AA, but I like the word, because whether you're a recovering someone or not, it's basically, if you are a recovering hurt person who has hurt people, I think amends are important. But I finally heard it. I've been angry about a lot of things. I've been angry for years and years and years. And I know the people that know me would say, I don't see it, because, you're goofy and you're silly and you're funny. I had a friend the other night say, I have one friend, and, like every so often he and I will just talk. And we talk, it's like epic talks. He's one of my dear, dear friends for over 30 years. And he was reminding me the other day, he's like, you got to see yourself. He's like, you're always telling all these people, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. And, God, I never realized how many guy friends I have. I have a lot of guy friends, but, I know, but he was saying, he's on one of my favorite things about you. He's like, it's just how funny you are. And I felt so validated, because, I'm not stand-up funny, but I think I'm funny. But that's just it. A lot of people think I'm funny, and so they don't know there's this, not everybody's privy to this ugly side of me. And there has been an ugly side of me. I didn't realize it until right now, how angry I've been. And God, I'm sorry, everything on my face just itches right now. So, but yeah, maybe that's my tell, right? Oh, you're finally getting it. So, let's flutter all of our little wings in your face. It's like my cat. My cat hit me in the eye he hit my glasses, but with his tail. He flicked his tail at my face this morning, but it feels like his tail's up my nose right now. But anyways, I am hearing it. I've been angry for a long time. And I think part of it was, I feel like I was finally healing my trauma, getting into a good place, and then my mom up and died. And then 10 months later, Sissy up and died. And then a couple years later, my coworker up and died. And I think I've been angry about all those things. You know, one of them, I just felt like there had to have been something I could do. And the other ones, it still felt like no matter what, you know, you're told you got these healing hands and stuff, but you can't heal the people you love. And there's been a lot of anger. You know, I mean, that's for a story for another day. I mean, not everybody believes in that, but we all have our own beliefs, right? Show compassion, you know, show compassion. You don't have to sit there and scoff at somebody because they believe something. Just let them have it, because you don't know their truth. You don't know their path. You don't know that they're not lying. You don't, well, actually, they know they're not lying. They know they're being honest. Just accept people for who they are. Let them be who they're going to be. Everybody has different beliefs. You don't have to believe it, even if it's real. You know, it may not be in your realm of, you know, believing that kind of stuff. But I do. And boy, this is a hard one. This is a hard one, because it's hard when you're the one who is trying to be the teacher and you suddenly become the teacher and the student. And I'm hearing a lot of it. I'm hearing a lot of it. And, but you know what? It's interesting. I was about to say I'm ashamed, but I'm not. I'm going to show myself compassion. Because for body mindfulness, for any kind of mindfulness, that's what we need to do. We need to show ourselves compassion. We need to be good to ourselves. We need to be kind to ourselves. We need to tell ourselves, hey, you know what? It's all right. It's all right. You know, we had a blip in the road. You know, we hit a bump. And, you know, we recovered. So why are we still angry? Maybe it's time for those of us who have all these things that we're so attached to and stuck in these patterns, these, you know, not great patterns either, that we're stuck to. Maybe it's time for us to let those go. To pick that cozy blanket, to pick that warm fuzzy blanket, and put away the scratchy one. Throw it away. You don't need it. It's not serving you. You've been through these experiences, and if you've healed it, why are you hanging on to it? And yes, I'm also asking myself that. If you've healed it, why are you hanging on to it? You don't need the itchy scratchy blanket. It's not doing you any good. It's not serving your purpose. You were allowed to build the kind of walls that say boundaries on them. All right. You were allowed to, you know, tell people that, hey, you know what, we need to just not right now, because, you know, you're allowed to just say, we need to agree to disagree. Compassion lies beneath all of these things. So, you know, and compassion is a wonderful self-care tool. So this isn't just about Self-Care Wednesday. This is about teaching ourselves compassion for ourselves, to love that person we see in the mirror. Not just the body, the whole person. But in this moment, just as we are. To not shame ourselves, to not make ourselves feel bad about ourselves, to not try to find our happiness just in doing for other people. It's great to feel good when you do something lovely for someone. That's the bonus feeling. But you need to do things for yourself as well. You need to show yourself that compassion and that empathy that you may need, that you didn't know you need. I didn't know I still needed it. I needed the empathy. I needed that compassion. And I wasn't giving it to myself. I didn't realize I was still so angry over so many things. And even my therapist and I talked about it. But it turns out there's more than that. When you want to set an intention, when you want to manifest something, when you want to pray, you cannot be angry while you're doing it, because that is going to negate it's going to negate it, what you're trying to achieve. Because instead of putting that good feeling out there, you're basically saying, why don't you see me? Why do you hate me? And that's what anger does. Anger's dumb. It really is. You know, I mean, except in that movie, you know, from Pixar. I mean, anger was hilarious, right? And I think sometimes we try to make our anger seem funny. But when it comes down to it, anger's just not good. It's bad. And that doesn't mean we're not going to have those moments. We are human. We're going to anger from time to time. and it's okay. But don't let your anger focus in on somebody. If you're angry about something, journal it, write it down, scream into a pillow, go to one of those places where you can go inside and beat the shit out of everything in there, right? You know, they give you a bat and you can just hit stuff. If that's what you need to do, do it. Or if you have the kind of yard where you can do this kind of stuff, just be careful. Lay down a sheet or something, because you don't want glass and stuff all over your yard, because you never know what's going to happen and who's going to find it. So, you know, but do it in a safe space. Do it in a safe space. You know, build yourself a little shed where you can do this stuff. All I'm saying is, or, you know, just even go to the batting cages, you know, whether you hit it or not, or go to a tennis court that has the, you know, the machine with the balls. Right? And just hit the crap out of stuff. I have a whole bag of balls and a tennis racket. And sometimes I think I just wish. I mean, when I go down to my dad's house next month, I am definitely bringing those two things with me. And I'm just going to hit the crap out of them. Because I realize now that this anger that's been laying inside of me, it's not dormant anymore. It's not coming out on anyone. But it needs to be healed. It needs to be transmuted into something bigger and better for myself. Because I deserve good things. We all deserve good things. But most of all, we all deserve, including myself, that compassion and that empathy that we lack sometimes in giving to ourselves. That will help with body mindfulness. That will help with your self-care, your self-love, your self-respect, and your self-worth. Oh yeah, the driving range, right? Older sibling reminded me of the driving range. I love the driving range. I have my own set of clubs. That's right. I like to golf. I don't do it very often, and I don't like doing it on the big course because I find them way too intimidating. But going to the driving range is so satisfying. Just whacking the shit out of a tiny little ball. You know, and we have a driving range near us where you can hit little islands or you hit the water. Doesn't matter. It's the one water hazard you're allowed to hit. But, and yeah, she's right. They do supply the balls. You know, you pay like, what, 15, 20 bucks for a bucket of balls? I don't know. It used to be 10, but inflation. So, and then you just hit away. And if somebody asks you, hey, do you want me to teach you how to hit it? Go away. Go away. Well, don't say go away. No, thank you. I'm doing fine just on my own. But yeah, you know, there's always going to be someone that tries to help you, you know, but it's okay. You know, just say no, thank you. But if you really want to learn, that's great. I mean, I can drive a ball like nobody's business, but I can't putt. I'm the world's worst putter. But well, maybe not, but I'm pretty close. So there you go. I know. You know, I want to say that I rambled and I went in 10 different directions, but you know, it's the Aloha perspective, right? A little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. But I actually think I stayed pretty on target. The full moon, the full super blue moon did exactly what it's meant to do. It was a magnet and it pulled all that negative stuff to the surface that I know I need to heal. So I thank you. I thank you all because without the show, I couldn't have done it without you. But no, I think without today's show and today's topic, I'm not sure I would have realized that, you know, when you want to manifest something, you can't do it in anger. And it's like, oh, you know, and I think the anger comes from lack of patience. I'm not good with patience. I mean, I'm not bad with patience, but I mean, like when something doesn't happen like that, when I'm expecting it to, I'm learning how to take a deep breath and just go, you know what? It's okay. It's going to work out. Everything. I know some people hate the term everything happens for a reason, but I do think some things happen for a reason. So why don't we change it to that for right now? Some things happen for a reason. Maybe not everything, but some things do. Okay. You know, depending on what your belief system is. Some people hate the term. Some people are like, yeah, that explains a lot. But, you know, I think it's up to us. It's up to us to show ourselves compassion. Show yourself some compassion. You know, start today. Keep a journal and see how things might change in just the next week when you trust. I just must trust. They made it rhyme so that you can remember it. I just must trust. And trust in that compassion and that empathy. And remember to really, really, you know, bathe yourself in those emotions. You know, I feel like I really hit the nail on the head here because the crows outside are going freaking crazy. All right, they're going nuts. And I looked outside earlier, there's nothing out there for them to go nuts over. But I always feel like it's kind of like that little bell that people hear, right? When they, like that little light bulb bell when they have an epiphany. these guys, even when I'm journaling, whenever I have an epiphany, it's like I just squawk, squawk. And well, let's get a little metaphysical here for a second. Crows are thought to be, crows and ravens are thought to be the messengers of both sides, this side and the other side of the veil. So the spiritual messengers. So, take that for what you will. But I know for me it's a good sign to have. So I want everybody really, really dig deep in your compassion, okay? That's your homework. You have homework. Whether you journal it in your phone, write it on your computer, or just write it down on a notepad if you're not a journaling type of person. Go to the grocery store. Some places are still having school sales. So I got 3 notebooks for like 69 cents each, and you're like, but Shelly, you have all kinds of journals. Yeah, I do. But when I'm doing shadow work and when I'm going through all these different things that I'm trying to go through, I find that regular old notebooks work just fine. I didn't realize I got Christmas colors, but I also got a blue one, but that's the one I'm working in right now. So, and I mean, yeah, they're wide rule, and sometimes I like the wide rule. I notice sometimes I write really tiny or sometimes I write really big, but I find them to be a little more, it's not like trying to write in one of these where you run out of room or it's not big enough or you got to fight with the binding. It's just a simple notebook or even a composition book, right? So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day today. Again, it's Self-Care Wednesday. Show yourself some compassion and empathy. Show other people compassion and empathy. If you're about to fight with somebody, just, instead of letting it escalate into something dumb. I said dumb because I know that when I've let things escalate, it's really over. It's really dumb because it shouldn't have gotten that far. And I'm not calling you dumb, just the situations that we sometimes get ourselves into. It's one thing to have a debate with somebody. It's another one when it breaks out into a verbal brawl. So, older siblings saying, you too. No, I will. I am going to journal about this when I'm done doing the TikTok. But, yeah, this is something I know I need to work on. So like I said, this whole body positivity or body mindfulness thing, I'm going through it with you this time. It's not just something I pulled off the internet and said, hey, let's do 30 days of this because this is what we're following. No, this one I'm putting time into. Excuse me. I'm putting work into. I apologize. My throat got dry. I'm so sorry if that was loud because I know it's right near the mic. But anyways, right? Somebody doesn't want that message to get out, but I know I need to do the same thing. So like I said, it's not just 30 days of something that I pulled down. I am literally using lists and memes and the card deck, the Threads of Fate, to really kind of pull us through here. And I'm leaning on my higher power. So thank you, sibling. I didn't sneeze, but thank you. I'll save that. I'll put that on credit for the next time I sneeze and you're not around. So I got 2 now. But yeah, I'm putting time into this because I really want us all to find this peace within ourselves. I want us to surrender to peace. To be peaceful in our hearts and our minds, and to try to go about this world not looking at everything so angry, and I get that. I mean, sometimes when you're a hurt person, you hurt people, or sometimes when you're a hurt person, you hurt yourself the most, right? So, compassion. Remember your compassion for others and for yourself. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Again, it's Self-Care Wednesday. Give yourself some self-care. Do something nice for yourself today. Even if it's just going outside and sitting out in the sun for a while and just soaking it all in. Unless you're in California, Southern California right now, try not to melt. Try not to melt. So, oh my God, it's warm right now. But, I know you're like, but you live in California. Yeah, but we're actually in a heat wave. I mean, our weather's been hotter than normal, but we get these. We all act like this never happens every summer, but I think it's just, Just something to complain about. So, have a great day. If you want a shorter version of this, I do a TikTok video right after this one under the Aloha perspective, and I basically just read it. Sometimes I come up with different gems, so mental gems. So, you know, if you want to check that out too. Again, have a great day, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow for day number 21 of body mindfulness. Tomorrow will be an interesting one. All right, that's all I'm going to say. Tomorrow will be an interesting one. But have a great day, everybody. Excuse me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch it under Shelly Marie Lucas, or you can catch the replay on my YouTube channel, The Aloha Perspective, and I also share the video to my Facebook page, The Aloha Perspective, and you're welcome to like both of those. Please subscribe. All right. So again, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.